Marilyn Manson breaks his silence on Evan Rachel Wood's abuse allegations. Just hours after Wood alleged Manson had, in her words, horrifically abused her for years. On February 1st, 2021, the Westworld actress claimed Manson, whose real name is Brian Warner, abused her more than a decade ago. He started grooming me when I was a teenager and horrifically abused me for years, she said on Instagram. I was brainwashed and manipulated into submission. I am done living in fear of retaliation, slander, or blackmail. I am here to expose this dangerous man and call out the many industries that have enabled him before he ruins any more lives. I stand with the victims who will no longer be silent. Following her accusation, a Starz spokesperson confirmed the network has decided to remove Manson's performance in the unaired episode of the series American Gods. His upcoming Creepshow episode will also no longer air. His record label, Loma Vista, has also confirmed it has dropped him as an artist.
Another very lovely evening to all of you, my dear friends. I'm ever so thankful that you all could join me once again, every time as always. I would just like to make a very quick comment on the fall of Marilyn Manson. It appears that after years of mocking God, blasphemy, sacrilege, making fun of Jesus, calling himself the Antichrist, it appears that after all of this, that this man, Marilyn Manson's career, in which he sold his soul to get, this man's career is now over. Multiple women accuse Marilyn Manson of rape, biting, and torture. The headline goes on, in one day, goth rocker Marilyn Manson's 31-year career was destroyed over multiple abuse allegations from 8 different women. The article goes on, in just one day, Manson lost an acting role on American Gods. AMC pulled an episode of Creepshow he was set to appear in, and his music label dropped him in one day. Now, you all have already seen the quote from Evan Rachel Wood, whom is his main accuser. But I would also like to zero in on the end of her statement. I am here to expose this dangerous man and call out the many industries that have enabled him before he ruins any more lives. Girl, I have to say right now, you have no idea how many lives that this man has truly ruined in 31 years of mocking God. Another one of his victims is Sarah McNeely, and she stated that as he was wooing me, I would come to find out he was torturing others. Before long, I was the one being tortured. I was emotionally abused, terrorized, and scarred. I was locked in rooms when I was bad, sometimes forced to listen to him entertaining other women. Another one of these alleged victims is Ashley Lindsay Morgan, whom stated there was abuse, sexual violence, physical violence, and coercion. And another is Ashley Waters, and she stated it felt like I was his property, because he would offer me up for sexual encounters and bragged he could do so. I'd be threatened if he wasn't happy or made to do some impossible task so he could berate me. He isolated me from friends and family. Catch this. He isolated me from friends and family. Sometimes I wouldn't be allowed to leave for days. Sometimes I wouldn't be allowed to sleep. He frequently became violent, throwing glass plates and heavy objects. It is stunning or it's ironic, how Marilyn Manson accuses organized religion, mainstream, in particular Christianity. He accuses us of being like a cult, whenever he exhibits the very same mind control tactics in his actions. As a cult leader, he isolated me from friends and family. I wouldn't be allowed to sleep. I wouldn't be allowed to leave for days. He would abuse them mentally, physically, emotionally. It shocks me just as much about how now that these women have came out and told about how he physically abused them, he has been abusing people's minds, souls, spirits for decades, and nothing was done about it. He was allowed to roam completely free. But now he's lost everything. Look, running with the devil up here, mocking Christ.
I think church has very little to do with spirituality. I think It's something you have to find in yourself. It's about expressing your deepest fears and your emotions and putting it in something. It's not about living in fear and praying and hoping you're not going to go to hell. That's not very spiritual to me. It's not that different from what I do, you know? That probably horrifies Christians more than anything to hear that, but I don't disagree with a lot of the ideals that he was trying to get across. I just don't like the way people have used them to exploit others and to make, even children feel guilty for having imagination or wanting to be individuals. I like to look at all different religions. I find valuable elements in, Judaism and Satanism.
And you all know how this man, his whole career has been like this, Antichrist superstar. Psalm 7 states, "Behold, he travaileth with iniquity, and hath conceived mischief, and brought forth falsehood. He made a pit, and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he made. His mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealing shall come down upon his own pate. His own iniquity shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of his own sins. He shall die without instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray." And there's a very important lesson to learn in this. Psalm 37 says, "I have seen the wicked in great power, and spreading himself like a green bay tree, yet he passed away. And lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found." It's the very same way with the evil powers that we see taking over the earth today. Yeah, that seems like they have an unstoppable influence and reach, but they're all cut down. And finally, Psalm 34:16 says, "The face of the Lord is against them that do evil, to cut off the remembrance of them from the earth." Marilyn Manson, he has been this worldwide superstar for so many years now. But from this day forward, he will only be known as a rapist, an abuser of women, and a has-been. He will now be mocked forever, cut off the remembrance of them from the earth. His days are over. Before he even meets death, a certain death has already occurred to him. His career that he sold his soul for is now at an end. I pity Marilyn Manson. I don't gloat in any of this. I'm not praising over this. I'm not rejoicing over this. I hope Marilyn Manson finally gets away from that monster of an industry in Hollywood, finally gets away from there and repents, and comes to Christ with an open heart and sees that maybe there is still time. Such men have been forgiven, and I believe he can be forgiven. My final advice is for Marilyn Manson and any like him to turn to Christ before it's too late. Time is so short. What else have you got now? Thank you all for joining me. God of peace be with you. Amen.